Hello, everybody. I'm so excited. I'm back with my friend and business partner, Rachel. And, we started this series last week talking about how weight loss is more than just about you. And I mentioned last week that this was not to make you feel bad, not to put any shame or guilt on you, but to kind of highlight, because Rachel and I have been through this journey, and there were things that I just didn't realize, like how much it affected the people and the community around me than just me. And we, as Christian women, tend to be women of service. We really want to serve those around us. And so, what Rachel and I really wanted to do in these videos is to highlight how you taking time to care for yourself really is serving those around you, and how the enemy can kind of hide that from us. Often we want to feel like it's selfish to take that time to lose weight, take care of our temples. And I actually think it's the opposite. When we're not taking care of our temples, we tend to be very stuck spinning in our minds on how miserable we feel, how we don't like being in the body that we're in. We're thinking a lot about food and what other people are thinking about us and our bodies and what we're eating. And when we're stuck spinning in those kinds of thoughts, that's what's selfish. And we don't mean to be, but we're so focused on us, it's really hard to see the people outside of us. And so Rachel and I really wanted to do this series to really help kind of point out how we can still really fulfill that value we have of serving others when it comes to losing weight. Rachel, did you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I 100% agree. When you're stuck in that, it's almost like a battle, right? Where I feel selfish if I take care of myself. So I don't want to do that. But then your mind is all consumed with all these things that you wish were different. Like you wish your weight were different. You wish you had more energy. You wish you felt better overall. Your mind's consumed with that. And then also, you don't have the energy to do the things you want to do. And you aren't able, to go out and live and fulfill your greater purpose like you could if you invested a little bit in yourself and your health. So it's kind of like this battle. And what happens is that when you finally realize that taking care of yourself isn't selfish, it's actually a service to those of you, those that are around you, then you see, you kind of wish, oh my goodness, I wish I'd done this a long time ago. Because you see how you are able to take care of your kids and be more of what you wanted to be in the first place.
Yeah, I just think our service becomes that much more impactful. Yeah, because I think we have greater purpose. I think we have greater focus. We have greater energy. All those things, God gave us this body as a gift to help us fulfill our purposes. And if we're feeling stuck and miserable in it, it's holding us back.
Yeah.
And so, okay, so today, Rachel and I really wanted to dive into talking about how weight loss really affects like our brothers and sisters in Christ, like our churches, our congregations, but even the greater Christian community that we come in contact with.
Yeah.
So, Rachel, I'm going to start out with this question. And I just want to remind anybody listening, Rachel and I don't really have talking points. We're going to have a conversation about what kind of comes to mind. So I'm just going to start off with this question for you, Rachel. I want you to tell me like some of the obstacles maybe you have faced or your clients have faced when it comes to like caring for their temple, fueling it. But then there's like a church event or a gathering that kind of throws them off from doing what they want to really be doing for their bodies. Like, do you have any examples of that?
Yeah. I have a lot of examples of that. So I mean, and I struggle with this a little bit before, fully embraced that you don't have to people please when you eat. And you and I have had very lengthy conversations about this. But especially like where I grew up, we are all about eating,
Mm,
and everything. And it's almost like people take offense when they offer you food and you say no.
right.
They do. And it's like that at churches, like, and they're trying to be nice, right?
Yeah.
Um, they're trying to be in service to you, right? Like when you go and you don't make a plate
Mhm.
and someone sees you, and it almost is like everybody sees you because everybody
Right.
comes and says
Well,
something nice.
everybody's like looking,
Um,
it seems like. It's like we can't
yes,
just focus on what we're eating. We have to like look at what everybody else is eating.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
that's exactly it. Um, and I had a example of this just this last weekend. Like we went to an event and Jordan and I didn't make a plate, and everybody was like, "Are you not going to make a plate?"
Are you not hungry? Why aren't you eating? Are you
Yes,
fasting? Why are you fasting? What's going on? Like
yes,
you're skinny enough. You don't need to not eat.
right, right. And people, unless you've walked that walk, people don't realize how those comments come across. Like
Yeah.
my dad is a really good example of this. And this wasn't like church related, but this was just people in general. Like he lost a lot of weight and people would make comments to him,
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. But they
Yeah.
would make comments to him like, you need to eat a cheeseburger, you know, or you're skinny enough, you need to stop. Or things like that.
Yep.
And that can be really hard because you're working really hard toward a goal. And yes, you would love to go eat the cheeseburger. You would love to eat all the things everybody else is eating, but you have a different goal,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
And so that was really hard. And he gained some of his weight back just because, that gets in your head.
Hmm.
And that mindset, it's like, well, gosh, if everybody else wants me to eat, then I might as well do it. Um, and so people don't realize that those little comments like that really, really mean more. Like, you may not mean them that way, but they can be taken a different way.
Yeah. And not only can they be like taken a different way, but if we're just losing weight and we're totally focused on the physical side and we're not really paying attention to what's going on in our brains, we'll let people's comments come into our brain and
Mhm.
we'll never stop to question them. Like, you know,
Right.
you need to eat a cheeseburger. Well, do I need to eat a cheeseburger? Maybe I do. That does sound good. And
Mhm.
we don't stop to question those. What if that's just a lie? And
Yeah.
we're just not taking the time to really be like, hey, you know what? This person means well. I know what I need to be doing for my body. I know how to listen to it.
Right.
I can just stop and be like, hey, that's really sweet of you. I'm glad you're concerned about me. I'm good.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. My grandparents used to do that a lot too, especially when I first started losing weight. They were like, my goodness, Rachel, you're getting so skinny. And like, I remember one afternoon they actually I was living in an apartment at the time, and they came to my apartment with food
Yep. Here,
because they were
let me,
concerned.
and that's a big thing.
Yes.
I, it talks, in Acts about how people brought food, came together in
Mhm.
a meal. I mean, even the Lord's Supper is about coming together. Like was the start of it, coming together, celebrating in a meal, right? Celebrating the Passover
Right.
was the first step of it, right?
Right.
And so I think that the thing that like I want to kind of flesh out here is, hey, it's not that you can't like come together in a meal or like have meals with your church and stuff like that, but where do you think it kind of crosses the like where does it kind of cross the line? Where can we actually be an example for everybody else? Like this meal that we're sharing is a celebration, it's part of fellowship, but that's not the food isn't the purpose of it. It's the fellowship and the celebration.
Right.
Like, what are some of your ideas on how we, when we really dive into this journey, that we get to be an example of that? What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, food is like we say this all the time, especially like when we pray before meals, we're like, let this food be nourishment to our bodies and our bodies to your service, right?
Mm-hmm.
Food is supposed to be nourishment.
Mm-hmm.
And um, we can be examples with, like bringing healthy food, especially, acts of service, like taking food to people who, have just had surgery or who just had a baby, things
Right.
like that. Those are optimal times where we need to be fueling our body with nourishing foods, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just being an example of how to take care of your temple in general. And like, most people like we talked about, they mean well.
Yeah, they
They
do.
do. You
Yep.
don't know what you don't know,
Right.
right? And
Well, and
so
I truly
just
believe it, a lot of times it comes from a place of they're a little nervous about how they're feeling, and they
yeah.
think that it will make the situation better. They think that
Mhm.
you're nervous because they're nervous, and it'll make the situation better if there's just food, if everybody's
Yeah.
eating.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And a lot of things, or a lot of times, when I'm having conversation with clients and they're very hesitant about going somewhere because there will be food that they don't necessarily want to eat, I really tried to put an emphasis on the fact that it's not the food at the table, it's the people at the table.
Right.
Like, you're there to fellowship, you're there to talk to fellow believers, to your
Exactly.
church members, to your family. Like, you're there to focus on the people, not the food. And yeah, I mean, the food is great, but that's not the ultimate reason. And like a lot of times, when we go places, do you even remember the food you ate?
No.
No. You remember the food or the people and the conversations that you had with the people. It's not about the food.
And that's one thing I really want to highlight. I think this is how we get to be the best service to our brothers and sisters in Christ. You're right. We don't remember the food. What do we remember? We remember how people made us feel.
Yeah, exactly.
And so now when I go to these things, I go with a very clear mission that it's not for me to like fill my plate or eat a certain thing or any of that. I'm really going with
Mhm.
the focus of how can I make my fellow Christians feel loved, supported, and cared for. And one thing, all of us just really
Yeah.
want to be seen. So if I can go and ask some people some questions and just, get to know them better and they feel seen, that's what they remember. And
Right.
if my focus is on that, I tend to eat less, right? Like I'm not thinking about the food. I'm thinking about these people. Makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And you're able to put a bigger focus on the people when you're not so focused on the food,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
you
And when
can,
I'm comfortable in my skin and I'm not worried
yeah,
what they're like thinking about me and what's on my plate or thinking about how my rolls are hanging over my jeans or any of that, I can focus on them.
yeah, yeah. And I think that's like the elephant in the room too, when we're trying to, you know, eat healthier and not partake in some of those things. It's like we're afraid that people are going to make comments to us, just like we talked about at the beginning.
Yes.
And it's having that confidence to be, like not in people pleasing when it comes to eating, like, oh, thank you, that's okay, and turning it down politely. Like, yes, it looks fantastic, and I'm just, not hungry right now, or I ate before I came, or whatever. Or you can say the truth.
Yeah.
I'm here just to, fellowship and focus on the food, or focus on, I keep saying that, focus on the food, focus on the people. Instead, you can be truthful and say that. And, you and I have had extensive conversations about this, that it's not your responsibility how people take what you say.
No.
as long as of course, say it, with love and
With
have
love.
good intentions behind it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not your responsibility.
No, that's exactly it. And well, one thing I want to highlight here, Rachel does have a podcast. Um, Remind me the title again. It's
It's
escaping
called
me right
Feed
now.
Yourself.
Yeah, Feed Yourself. Go find it. We did a podcast together, one of her first ones. Is it like three? Podcast episode 3 or something
I
like that.
think it was episode 3. Yeah.
3 or 4 or something like that. And we talk about people pleasing eating. And I think that could be really helpful if that's something that you're struggling with. Um, but this is one of the reasons you and I really decided to partner together in our new program, right? Feel wonderful in your skin. That's the goal of this. Because if you're feeling good in your skin, you have the ability to think about those people so much more, put more focus, more emphasis on them and really being in service of them. And it really is putting these pieces together of, yes, physical weight loss, because you will gain the energy. Your body will feel better
Yeah.
with this mindset of being confident in who God
Yeah.
created you to be, in being confident in being able to say no. Um, when we have that confidence, it's so beneficial to the people around us because then we stop looking inward and we look outward. Um, and that is the beauty of, I mean, you and I are both just so excited about this program because of that.
Yeah.
It is the full package. You do get the physical weight loss and you're going to get the mental, emotional support, even spiritual support, because all of what we do is really focused on God, so that you have this transformation in all of these areas all at once. When you try to just focus on one, the other areas are still struggling and lagging. You have
Yeah.
to be looking at all of them to really get the lasting change you're looking at.
Yeah. And I love that you brought that up because, that is such a key piece to this program is the overall package and like not just teaching you about the physical weight loss, but how to deal with these kind of situations, right? Because they're going to be there forever.
Yep.
Um, a big thing for me, especially when people find out what I do for a living, like if we go to something like this, they automatically start justifying things that they
Oh,
eat.
all the time. Yes. I'm like, I don't care what you have on your plate. It does not
Exactly.
bother me. I'm not even looking at your plate. Can we just have a conversation other than food?
Exactly. And they like start like, well, I try to do this and eat
Yes.
better and like I really don't
Yeah.
care.
I
It
know.
really
They're like,
doesn't.
I'm gonna go for a walk afterwards. I'm like, that's lovely. I doesn't I'm not paying any attention to that. I know. They think that we always have like our coaching hat on and we're just like
Yes.
analyzing everything that everybody's eating and doing around us. And I'm like, I'm human and
Yeah.
I'm I need to shut down that part of my life too. Like, can we just have a normal conversation?
Right. Right. Exactly. I know. It's every time. And I told my husband the other day, I was like, well, I'm glad, we got that out of the way. So we can actually enjoy the fellowship now because we get that awkward piece out of the way and then we can
Right.
move on.
And I really think it comes from
But
this place of feeling judged
yes.
because
Yeah.
we have judged other people because we've been in those places.
Yeah.
And that's one thing we really talk about in our group is like, you're not judged. We've all been there. There's no judgment in what you
Right.
eat, the mistakes you make, none of it. One,
Mm-mm.
I I was not placed on this earth to judge. That is God's job, not mine. And I don't even want that job. So I we don't judge. I don't judge. And that's the other thing. Like I'll meet maybe people that are overweight and they hear what I do and they're like, it's almost like they shut down. They don't want to talk about it. I'm like, I'm not here to change that. I just
Right.
want to know you, the person.
Right.
Um, yeah.
Yeah. And if, somebody wants to ask advice
Right.
or, wants to be coached, then that's sure, let's have a conversation about it. But no, we're not judging 24/7 because somebody doesn't live like us. Like that's
Well,
not our place.
plus we've been there.
Right.
Like both of us were overweight and didn't feel good in our skin at one point. Like
Right.
we totally understand that. We would never have wanted to be treated that way. And
No.
we're not going to treat you that way.
No.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you wanted to add about, just being an example to like the greater Christian community when you lose weight, take care of that temple and feel better in your skin?
Yeah. The only other thing I would add is just, a lot of people don't put the connection together with weight loss and faith and incorporating God into the mix. And that is something that you and I do totally different than a lot of weight loss programs out there, is that is our entire foundation is
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah, we build our whole program on making God the center of it.
Yep.
Because if it matters to you, it matters to him. And weight loss, getting healthy, weight loss comes,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
So the whole goal is getting healthy so you can go out and fulfill your greater purpose that God put you on this earth to do. And no judgment on what size you are. It's just that usually getting healthy comes with weight loss.
Right.
You start to lose weight, you have things improve with your
Right.
health. That's just part of it. And so when you have all of these things that are hindering you from going out and doing what God called you to do, health wise, that's a problem. It's
Right.
not, not judging your weight. We
No.
just need to look at that and help you become, that person that takes care of their temple. So you were put on this earth for a reason. You were put on this earth for a purpose. God put
Right.
you here for a specific calling. And being healthy, you know, allows you to go out and do that. And that's the entire purpose of our program, is to help you do that.
Right. And to expand on that a little bit, like not everybody needs to lose weight. Even if they're
Yeah.
overweight, they don't need to lose weight. If it's not something that God has put that desire on their heart for,
Right.
then you don't need to do it.
Right. Right.
You don't have that drive to do it, and it's not necessary. Like God's saying that that's not necessary. You're not like a worse person just because you have some extra fat on your body. That's not the point of our program. The point of our
Mm,
program is when you are so stuck feeling stuck in your skin, feeling miserable
yeah.
in your skin, when you've been spinning and trying to lose weight over and over and over again, yo-yoing back and forth, and you're taking so much time and energy that weight loss has become an idol.
Yeah.
Let's put that focus back on God, and you can
Right.
still lose weight. And actually, you probably will lose more weight and keep it off when you stop making weight loss the idol and put it back on God and learn the whole mindset and the whole like basis of how God created our bodies and how food is fuel and all of that in this
Yeah.
container. So,
100%.
yeah,
That's so true.
yeah,
Because we do, like we talked about at the beginning, like when you said a lot of people think it's selfish, but it's not, because we are constantly thinking about that. you
mm-hmm.
know, it is an idol because we're thinking about that every single day more than we're thinking about other things. Like sometimes we think about that more than we spend time in the word or
Right,
spend time praying. Like,
exactly.
no judgment here, because I didn't used to
I
pray
did
about
it.
this either. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Um, but like a lot of people don't pray about their health or their weight. And some people pray when it's like cancer or things like that. It's like a serious medical condition, but like just their general overall health, like losing weight. People don't think to pray about that. They don't.
no,
I didn't for
no.
the longest. Um,
I've had lots of women tell me I didn't even think about inviting God into this
Same.
battle with me. And
Yeah.
And I agree with that because we often think like I think this lie the enemy feeds us is you got yourself into this mess, you get yourself out.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, no, God understands we're sinful and he wants to get us out. Like he wants to help us out of this.
Right.
Let's invite him into this battle with us. He wants to be there. Let's use that. He's got the ultimate power of strength or the ultimate strength and power and ability to do it.
Yeah.
Let's tap into that.
Right. And I want to add to that too, like you and I don't feel motivated every day. Like, and I
No,
don't want anyone to think that we do.
we are
um,
humans like everybody else.
yes. But that's the difference. Like when you finally have that revelation that God is calling you to be healthy and to step into that and invite him into this area, it's a lot harder to go back to those habits. And I'm not saying I'm perfect every
No.
day. Like there are days where I have ice cream, I have popcorn. You know, I've talked about popcorn's my kryptonite.
Yeah. And there's times I overeat and I don't care for my temple the way I should. There's lots of
Right,
days. Mm-hmm.
right. But
Yeah.
it's that's also where like the discipline and the daily acts of doing it over and over again for the right reasons, like not to get
Yep.
skinny,
No.
you know, not to get skinny, but to do it for the right reasons, which is, you know, going out and serving the Lord and doing what you were called to do. That makes it a lot harder to revert back to those old habits.
Yeah. And like I don't even know if it's like right or wrong reasons, but it's a lot more motivating when it's like we were talking about, not just about you. Right? That's when it's
Exactly.
more motivating when you see the greater purpose in it all. So, all right, that's
Exactly.
awesome. Um, I just want to remind everybody. So, just a little tease. We will be doing a little training slash we haven't sorted out all of the details of it. Rachel, I haven't, but we will be having a training coming up in September. And after that training, we'll have a short open enrollment for our group program. So if you want to get into this group, which it's going to be amazing, be sure to get on one of our email lists. If you need to find Rachel or I, you can, and I'll put my link and Rachel's link below this video so you can find us. Get on our email list so that we can get you all the information for that when it becomes available because you're going to want to be in it. It's going to be good. All right. All right. Thanks, Rachel. We'll be back again next week with another topic. And I think next week, should we talk about marriage?
I think so.
I think so. So we're going to be talking about how the whole weight loss thing isn't just about you, but it's about your husband too. So we're going to dive into that topic. That'll be fun. All right. Thank you, Rachel. And we'll talk to all of you guys soon.